Oops. Well, I'll just keep talking and then I'll put my earbuds in. Welcome to this video. Thank you so much for tuning in, sharing in this now moment with myself and with see what the guides have to share. We'll see what's going on in the universe, the U-inverse. So much I want to talk about globally with things I've written about and things that I'm noticing happening in the spiritual community and all of that. But for now, I have limited time, so I want to really just drop in. Many of us are being called to drop in and drop out. We're being called to drop into the heart and drop out, back away from the extreme energies, the polarization, if you wish to call it that. For through this polarity, we are having realization. We are having realizations that we need to drop in and drop out from time to time. And for those of us who are not directly involved in what we're witnessing, we're being called to become directly involved with ourselves. Oftentimes, we are pulled into a space of complacency. And while one might ask, aren't I being complacent by not jumping into the fight, jumping into the battle? For some people, that is their life path, if you will. And some people, that is their choice. We would invite those of you who are involved in that to still drop in and drop out at times, because the decisions that we make moving forward are scaled down, if you will, if we are weighing our options on a scale that is unfit for the future. We are currently operating within a state, if you will, governance that is not necessarily big enough to fit what we are expanded into, to fit into the bigness of an expanded point of view. While it may seem important to take sides, and at times it may be asked of you and I, we are being invited to recognize there is much more going behind the scenes on either side, on both sides, that the average you and I, like the people watching this video maybe, are not privy to. Also, keeping in mind that we are making judgments based on our own experiences. We are making judgments based on our operational skills and abilities to interpret whatever it is that we are tuning into. Our interpretation of our surrounding signals are being overwhelmed, inundated, if you will, with signals from all spectrums. And so unless we are tuning in and dropping out, we will not recognize what signals are relevant for us. We will not recognize the symbols of truth. And we would invite you to recognize that even great teachers have misunderstood or misappropriated their own interpretation of the energetic divide. And this is not coming from a place of judgment, this statement. I didn't realize we were going to talk about this, but okay. It is coming from a place of truth, honesty. For in all honesty, there are many people who view truth and view what's true to them from a different way. We are in a soup, if you will, of old energies that are dying off. I'm being guided to compare that to parasites. They leave a bloom, if you will, a smoke as they start to dissolve. And we are currently under this smoke. We are in the smoke screen stage, if you will. Some of us can see through it, and some of us think we can see clearly through it. Yet until we are actually through this stage of our human development, we will not be able to truthfully see what is unfolding. Many of us are, and not, this isn't for everyone, by the way. What I'm being shown is there's a lot of people that are jumping on a particular bandwagon or a particular, and other people are following them. And I've done this in the past too, like, oh, so and so says this, it must be true. Just because one person has 90% of things right doesn't mean that other 10% is right. And this goes back to some of the ancient teachings, some of our sages, some of our um, wisdom keepers, stories that, how many times has the Bible changed or been upgraded, is what I'm hearing. So it's just good to be aware. And I'm not saying this isn't knocking the Bible or any sage or any particular person. What they're inviting me to see is that Einstein was revered for so long. And now we're seeing that he wasn't 100% accurate. And he wasn't, I think he was adamant about sharing his structures as true. And for the time, many of them were true. But now working in a different dimension, working in a different dimensional capability is what I'm hearing. Like we have the capability to be multi-dimensional. So what may have been substantiated or information that may have been backed by certain conglomerates or certain people, we might start learn, oh, wait, that wasn't true. But we built things around that truth at the time, such as our history. Look at Egypt, look at the pyramids. I'm giving those as examples. So the guides are like, look, let's start really feeling into what we're engaging into before we jump on the bandwagon. Just because someone's brilliant doesn't mean they have it all together. And we're witnessing that a little bit in politics, aren't we? With the brilliant minds and the different crazy extremes all on both ends. It's like, well, they got a lot going for them, maybe not everything. So recognizing that we're all human is really important before we decide to give our allegiance, is what I'm hearing, to something. For as we grow, so too do our so too does our expandability. Our abilities expand, and our ability to expand into a new reality also, I'm hearing, concurs. It's like happening in concurrence. It's a currency. The people even who are adamant that they are right, adamant that the truths they have are correct on both sides, on all sides, may shift in divine collusion over the course of the next 6 months to 6 years. Can we hold our own center without, I'm hearing, dropping into a dogmatic old style of control? So I'm hearing wanting to control one another, wanting to, oh, this gets tricky, doesn't it? Ooh, this could be fun to play with. And I only have a few more minutes or approximately 5 more minutes. So I'm going to have to dive into this, but let's just kind of see where this was going. This message is just to encourage all individuals to hone in on what feels appropriate for them, to really listen to their inner instinct. And we cannot do that if our instinct is based on what we've been taught it should be. If our instinct is being told to us rather than felt by us. And when our feelings are interlaced with the news or interlaced with stories that have been shared and other people's points of views, it is difficult for us to find our footing, to look down at our feet, to step one foot in front of the other and feel what we are walking towards without gazing forward and following whatever it is that we feel we should follow. This is a message of self-importance. It is a message of letting go of the archives, so to speak. While it is important that people be held accountable from one perspective. I'm hearing the word in accountability. So that's a play on words. I'll come back to that. It does not need to happen the way we see it needing to happen now, for we will see things differently in a matter of time. And as things unfold, we will realize that divine timing is everything. And much of what we have cherished and believed in on a physical standpoint will start to drop away, which only leaves us with each other. How will we play? What will we play moving forward? How will this play out? We cannot access these potentials unless we use our creative imagination, open-hearted connection as a divine individual in a human collective, having an individual experience with the collective as a participant with Mother Earth and all of the divine planetary brothers and sisters of Mother Earth that we are deeply interwoven and intrinsically connected into. So we invite everybody to take a breath, take a step back, go within, smell the earth, get your feet dirty, play in the water, let yourself drop away from the rhetoric. And when you go back to it, should you choose to, perhaps it will feel slightly different. Perhaps it will take on a subtlety that was unnoticed previously or before you went back into you. So there is the need to feel incomplete in order to create something to make us feel more complete. Yet we are already in completeness. And the old systems, as they fall away, will scream and they will look messy. They will feel uncalibrated. It will feel as if we are a little lost currently. Which way do I go? We say go forward for humanity. Raise the consciousness in what we can do for regeneration, regenerative farming, organic, connecting with the crops, connecting with the waters, using science to better our future, rather than looking at our future now and pointing fingers. Can we take a step back and release in order to realize we have already crossed the threshold? Yet we are holding ourselves back by continually looking back and pointing fingers. And how this accountability will be addressed has yet to be shown. Yet we must show each other that each of us is accountable for our own inner actions, our own inner state of resonance, our own inner state of compassion. We can do this through compassionate interaction. This will change how every human interacts with one another. And so it is. So I'm going to end on that note. I've got a lot more to say. This is not political, governmental, environmental, nothing. This is a neutral message. And I'm not here to give answers as to, get fired up, peace, love. No, we're figuring that out right now. And that's what's so messy. Of course, I love peace, love. I'm all about peace and love. And I'm all about finding that way to be in that space of peace and love. And it's something about sitting down and having a conversation, even with people that we don't want to have a conversation with, that we don't agree with. That's so empowering. If we can just go, well, you're wrong about this, I feel, but you're right about that. And if they can say, well, you're wrong about this, but you're right about that, and come together and create a collaboration, it's going to allow some of those old systems to really start to melt away. We've got so much scrunched up right now in this density that we're paying attention to the density, and we're not always recognizing that a lot of that density is fabricated. That's what I'm hearing. So playing with that a little bit. I'm hearing pay attention to the fabric of our own inner reality. our fascia, right? How we come together, how we share a meal. Are we present? Um, what are we creating? Uh, yeah, in love and light. Namaste.